This is Lisa from mobileTechReview, and this is going to be a happy review because this is quite a good laptop for the money, and there aren't a lot like it. This is the HP Envy 15 for 2020 with Intel 10th generation CPUs inside and up to an NVIDIA RTX 2060 Max-Q, which is what we have. So you're starting to sound a little bit like a gaming laptop, right? But obviously much more chill looks. We have a classy aluminum chassis here. It's relatively thin and relatively light. You can see the specs on screen. And it's a lot of horsepower. So who's it competing with? Well, they're going after the Dell XPS 15 and the 16-inch MacBook Pro. But the deal with the Envy is, and I think why it's such a popular series, is it's almost as classy as the Spectre series of laptops from HP, but the price point is always very aggressive. In other words, not that much money for what you're getting. So this one here, decked out with an 45-watt Intel 10th Gen Core i7 CPU. That's the 10750H, and that's a 6-core CPU. The RTX 2060 Max-Q, a 15.6-inch OLED display, and other good specs to go along with that is $1,500 list price. You might find it for less because, you know, HPS sales and all that. There are some lower-end models with the GTX 1650 or GTX 1660 Ti starting around $1,200 for those. Also still a good buy. We'll talk about who they're all for. We're going to look at it now. So even if you go with the lower end GPUs, you're still getting that same Core i7 CPU, which is good times there. So really it depends on how much graphics horsepower you need. If you're just getting going and you're doing some Adobe Premiere, video editing, that sort of stuff, you're just starting out maybe high school to early college days doing some rendering work, Blender or whatever program it is that you use, you can make do with the lower end GTX GPUs. But those are paired with the full HD IPS 300 nit display. If you want that OLED display, you got to go with the RTX 2060 Max-Q. So that's more for well-heeled creative types, but not nearly as expensive as some competing products. Like if you look at a Razer Blade 15, for the same specs, it's going to cost you more money. It's interesting that. You're going to get 16 gigs of RAM at least, no matter which of the model configurations that you buy, and that's dual-channel DDR4 RAM, and it's upgradable at that. There are 2 RAM slots. You get an NVMe boot SSD, 512 gig, except for the very cheapest model, which is a 256 gig. And there's our Costco model that's more expensive that has a terabyte. But you know what? It will show you the internals. It's pretty easy to open this up and throw another SSD in there or upgrade the existing one, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. You also get a good Intel Wi-Fi 6 card, the AX201 with Bluetooth 5 on board. This does not have 4G LTE or 5G. Not that many laptops have 5G yet, but you know, this is not really a business laptop, which is where you would usually see that. You have a fingerprint scanner on board as well, and you've got a Microsoft Precision trackpad. The keyboard on this is okay. It's very short travel. It's backlit in white. Not a lot of contrast. Silver keys, white backlighting. You get the idea. I'd like a little more key travel. It feels fairly crisp, but... So this is all sounding pretty good. What's the catch, right? Well, you know, it's on the slim side, so how's the cooling? Well, HP actually went with 2 pretty good sized fans. Rear ventilation, it's well concealed, so it looks pretty, but rear ventilation along the back, obviously, and 1 side fan for air intake, but we got vapor chamber cooling here, so I was really surprised. I thought, this is really geared towards creatives. This is not supposed to be a gaming laptop. HP has gaming laptops for that sort of thing, you know, the usual spiel there. Anyway, I thought, well, it's going to run too hot, and the performance numbers are not going to be that good. But no, it actually, the cooling is very effective on this. And when running 3D tests like Firestrike and TimeSpy, actually I saw lower temperatures than we normally see out of a lot of gaming laptops that are reasonably slim and light. So they've done a very good job with cooling. And it's not particularly a loud laptop either. With everyday normal use, say you're taking it to class and you're taking some notes, whatever, maybe you're... watching a little YouTube when you shouldn't be if you're a little bit bored, you're not going to even hear the fan spin up on this. If you push it hard, you will, but they are by no means annoying sounding. They're very nicely tuned. So no gotcha there with the thermals and the cooling and the performance, no egregious throttling issues or anything like that. Good times. The port selection on this is good. We have HDMI 2.0. We have 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, so if you want to use DisplayPort, you'll just use USB-C to Thunderbolt 3 adapter on that. And we've got 2 USB-A ports, and of course a headphone jack. The charger plugs in via a barrel pin connector. Why? Because it's a 200 watt on our model, and that's way too many watts for USB-C to handle generally. So if you are thinking about this versus, well, the MacBook Pro, I know they want to go up against that, but I think Mac people and Windows people are still often two different camps. Obviously, it's less expensive than the MacBook Pro, and you got the OLED display option here, though I would say out of the box, the Mac tends to have the more color accurate display, even if it's not OLED. Versus the XPS 15, again, this one is less expensive, and you got more graphics horsepower too, so that makes it pretty attractive. The only thing that you might call a drawback, particularly compared to the MacBook Pro, which has very little glare, or the matte display options on the XPS 15, is this is a very glossy display. HP likes glossy displays, and it's a decent but not a class-leading OLED panel. Pretty reasonable color accuracy. It doesn't look garish. There are a couple of different color tunings you can choose from to help with that, but it's also going to hit on battery life a little bit, which isn't HP's issue, it's everybody's issue. But yeah, if you're not a fan of the OLED, there is the full HD 300 nit IPS display, but then you have to look at the lower end GPU. So those are kind of tied together. So it depends on how you feel about OLED and how you feel about glare. Battery life on this is not bad. Now, HP always makes some wild claims like 18 hours of battery life or something, but obviously this is mobile workstation level performance or low to mid-level gaming laptop performance that we've got here. We have that 200-watt charger with our RTX 2060 Max-Q model, like I said, and we've got an 83-watt-hour battery. So that's decent. It's about like a Razer Blade 15 in terms of battery capacity. And if you're doing everyday productivity work and not engaging the GPU, then you'll probably get 6 hours on this. I mean, it's the OLED display that's hurting a little bit here. You might even, it depends on the brightness, you might even drop that down to 5.5. If you're going to be doing gaming or video editing unplugged, which probably you won't most of the time, we plug that in for better performance, but you'll get shorter run times. But given the class of machine that this is, and in fact it has an OLED display, that's not too bad. To take off the bottom cover, it's delightfully simple, unlike Spectres where you have to pull off rubber feet and stuff. You don't have to do that here. 3 longer screws at the back, 2 short screws, and then you work your way around with a guitar pick or a pry tool of some kind to undo the plastic clips. It's not too hard, really. That's what the underside looks like. And inside here we have the 83-watt-hour battery over here, the down-firing stereo speakers. They sound pretty good. Those are decent size, actually. And 2 RAM slots. How nice. Isn't this just upgradable? It's not a boutique soldered laptop. We have 16 gigs of RAM, so there's 2 slots. One's there, and the other is right here. Here's our M.2 NVMe boot SSD with some thermal tape on top. And look, there's a second slot available over here. And there's a retaining screw for the SSD if you decide to put a second one in there. Good to see that. We have vapor chamber cooling here. Again, very nice, especially in this price range. This is not some high-end Razer Blade laptop, and it's a bit cheaper, like I said, than the Dell XPS 15 that it competes with. The Wi-Fi card is, however, soldered on. It's right here, but it's a good Intel Wi-Fi 6 card AX201, so unlikely they'll be dying to replace that. So that's the HP NV15. What a powerhouse and a pretty good-looking machine, a nice, classy build on this. Who is this for? Anybody who needs more horsepower than your typical Ultrabook offers with integrated graphics. You're video editing, you're doing 3D rendering, you want to do some gaming, though it's not really designed for that. I mean, the thermals hold up pretty decently on it, I have to admit, for those who want to do some occasional gaming as well. You've got Thunderbolt 3 on board, so not bad there. OLED for those who are OLED fans, and yeah, it's definitely a very competent and very cost-effective mobile workstation. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.